couple of weeks ago, I asked you a question about your assumptions of my life here in South Italy, because I do think it's interesting sometimes. We see things through a particular lens on social media, through the videos on my YouTube channel, and we kind of build an idea up in our minds of what somebody's life is really like. And so I thought today I would really give it to you straight. I feel like I do anyway on my channel, but perhaps more so than ever, as to what my life is really like here in South Italy and whether or not the assumptions you have about it are really correct. Now, I asked in two different places, on my Instagram and also on my community tab, what you thought my life was like. And it was interesting because some of the answers were very, very similar. So let's begin with the first one, which actually quite a few of you said, which was essentially, it looks amazing and that you were living the dream. So there were a few other variations, but always along the same kinds of lines. Well, let me answer that. Yes, my life here does look like I'm living the dream. Is it always amazing? No, because this is reality, okay? And life in reality is not always amazing. You know, you have challenges, you have things that you have to overcome, you're working lots. It's real life. And so as a result, I might live in a really beautiful, iconic part of the world that everybody dreams of moving to and living in, but it doesn't always mean that my life is amazing. There are many tough experiences that I navigate here in South Italy, especially. I work very, very hard here. I sometimes feel or wonder if I have gone back in time by my decision to move to and live in South Italy. But then on the flip side, I see how much personal growth that I have had over the course of these 6 years. And I see how I am definitely not the same person who arrived in Italy in 2018. And so I realized that even though I can have the challenges and the struggles on the one hand, the actual benefits and gains as a result of them far outweigh any kind of difficult moments that I might have here. So is it always amazing? No. Does it teach you some of your greatest lessons? Yes. Do I feel blessed and fortunate? Very much so, because I realize that I have done something that for a lot of people would just be a dream or something that they can never actually turn into reality. So this answer is very multifaceted, but I do believe that when you see beautiful pictures and scenery and smiling faces, it doesn't always reflect what is truly going on in somebody's life. And I really want to be more open about my own feelings about living here in South Italy, and even more transparent than what I feel like I am already on my channel about my experiences here, which is why I've created 2 exclusive membership tiers. You can check them out by looking at the join button below or in the link in the show notes, which is going to give you even more of an insight into my day-to-day life here, more so than what I share on my channel normally. So I'm working on improving that aspect, because I think if you plan to move to Italy, you need to know the ins and outs, the little intricacies and details of what you can expect life to be like here. So go check that out if you're interested in moving to Italy next year or even beyond. So that is the first assumption. The second assumption is that you are happier and more relaxed than you were in Britain. Interesting. Happier, maybe so, but that's not necessarily because of Italy. That's because I've done a lot of work on myself. In the UK, I wasn't very happy a lot of the time, and I kind of hid that through hard work, through throwing myself into my businesses or into my work. I disguised that aspect through overwork and through keeping busy, but I wasn't necessarily happy. And moving here, I made it a mission of mine to rediscover my joy. That was one of the guiding reasons why I chose to move to Italy. And if you're not sure about what your real motive and reason for moving to Italy is, I really suggest that you get super clear on it. In fact, join my free email course. I'll link it up here, which will help you to uncover your real why. Because honestly, without a why, it's very difficult to sustain life here and manage life here in South Italy. But for me, it was to rediscover my joy, because I wasn't feeling happy. I was really overworked. I didn't have a balance between my social life and my working life. And I just didn't know what it meant to just live. And so I came here, and as a result of doing the work on myself, because I had to do work on myself, Italy didn't and doesn't fix you. I found a place in my life where I feel the most content I probably have ever felt. Now, it's not to say that I don't have days where I feel a bit rubbish, or days where I'm like, oh gosh, I don't feel happy about something that I did in the past, or something that I'm doing now, or an aspect of my behavior. I still have those feelings, but I would say that I am happier here, yes, but it's not because of the country. It's because of the work that I've done on myself, and it's because I've put myself in situations living here that have really pushed me out of my comfort zone. And as a result, I've grown and developed as a person so much more. When it comes to more relaxed, I don't know if I'm more relaxed living here, especially living here in Palermo. If you've visited Palermo or you've watched any of my videos about Palermo, you will know that it's a very difficult city. Beautiful to visit, but not so simple to live in. Now, when it comes to like my life here in South Italy, the notion is life in South Italy is this: it's relaxing, it's really beautiful, it's piano piano. Yes, on the one hand, it can be this, but it doesn't mean it's not stressful. I've had stresses here to do with bureaucracy, just to do with the mindset of people here, trying to get stuff done here. It's not always been a walk in the park. And so I can't really say that I am more relaxed here. I think probably the stress levels are maybe sometimes a little bit more than back in the UK, because I didn't have any language issues to contend with living back in the UK either. So yeah, I would say that part isn't quite like realistic, but I am happier as a person here. But as I've said, that's more for the work I've done on myself rather than for the country itself. Okay, the next assumption that I received, well, it was actually more of a personal comment, but it said this person was from Rome, and it said you made the best decision going to the south instead of living in Milan. I agree with this. In fact, if you're curious as to why I chose the south of Italy, watch this video here because I explain why. But I definitely felt a connection to South Italy, and everybody was telling me I should be living in the north of Italy. Logic and rationale and reason would suggest that coming from London, North Italy would probably be the most appropriate place to move to in terms of similarity of life and lifestyle and everything else, and mindset and things like this. But I just didn't feel a connection towards the north of Italy. And also, I think if I really wanted to move somewhere similar to London, I probably wouldn't have left the UK. You know, there's this as well. I left the UK to have a different experience, not to relive the same experience, but just in a different country, you know, with the language barrier as well thrown into the mix. Here in South Italy, it's very particular. Life here isn't for everyone. And this is the reason why I'm so straight with you on this channel, because I think you can look at the beautiful pictures and you can think, oh my goodness, I could live there. It looks amazing. But life here is not for everyone at all, in any way, shape or form. So you have to be realistic about your expectations and what you really want to gain from your time here in Italy. I will say though that there is something about South Italy. There is something about South Italy. It's not perfect. And maybe I like the fact it's not perfect, because who or what in life is? Well, nothing. I also like the fact that it's just real and raw, and I'm really about digging deep into being vulnerable and real and raw about things, and I think I appreciate that here in South Italy as well. But I also appreciate the beauty that there is here, and that there is a rugged exterior, but when you dig beneath that, you find something super beautiful. And so for this reason, I think this is another reason why I'm drawn to the south. And not to say that the north isn't beautiful, but you know, there's just something about the south. Oh my God, thunder. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, I've kind of forgotten what I was saying in the middle of all of that. But yes, there you go. There's evidence that the weather's not always great here in South Italy. It's pretty terrible at the moment, actually. But that said, there's something about South Italy that I really love. For the most part, the weather's beautiful. There is a real sense of community and spirit here that I really feel connected and drawn to. So yeah, I would agree with you. I think I made the right choice for myself, definitely. Okay, the next assumption about my life. Friendly people, warm, very slow, seafood, lack of convenience, hard to get around. Oh, there's a lot to unpack in this assumption. So friendly people and warm people. Well, warm could also be for the weather as well, let's be honest. But friendly people, yes, for the most part, not for everyone. Like, as I've always said, this is real life. You will find people here who are beautiful. Like, inside and out. But you will also find people who are definitely not like that. So for the most part, yes, for the majority of people here, they are lovely, warm, kind, everything you would want from a person. But it's not to say that other types of people here don't exist. In terms of warm, yes for the people and yes for the weather. In fact, very, very hot for the weather here in the summer, but very mild in the winter. Like here now, it's been like around 11 degrees, often evening. But I would say that, this is December. And so as a result, gosh, just a moment. Sorry, this is real filming here. Tina's a bit stressed with the weather. Off she goes. As with the weather here, it is pretty mild and warm year round, I would say. So that is definitely true. Now, when it comes to very slow, it can be. I'm not going to lie. It really depends where you come from. If you come from a country like I did from the UK, where life is like go, 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 whether that's a good or a bad thing is a personal opinion for sure. But it can be pretty slow here at points, particularly in the afternoons, particularly on a Sunday. They are particular moments when you notice just how slow it can be here in South Italy. So yes, and also it depends where you live. If you live in a village that's pretty sleepy, you will notice it more, absolutely. Seafood, yes. This is the place where I have eaten the most seafood that I have ever eaten in my entire life, and rightly so, because it's absolutely delicious and super fresh. Lack of convenience. I don't know if you mean like convenience in terms of like shops and services, or if you mean like a lifestyle that's not easy. I'm not too sure what you meant by that. But in terms of shops and services, well, that really depends where you live. If you live in a big city, you will find everything that you need. If you live in a small village, no, you're going to have to travel for those. In terms of the ease, I would say life here can be easy. It is exactly what you make of it. So that, again, will really depend on you and where you decide to base yourself. And the last thing to unpack from this assumption is hard to get around. It can be. Again, it depends where you are. If you're in a village, you probably will, in fact, not even probably, you most definitely will need to drive. There's no getting away from it. If you're in a city, you might have more flexibility, but public transport here isn't the best necessarily in South Italy. So you do have to factor that into your decision as well. And the final assumption that I'll share with you today, that's perhaps a little bit similar to the first one that I shared with you, but a little different: living your best life. Yeah, maybe I am living my best life, but not from a really arrogant place, but because I've really truly understood who I am as a person, my mission and my purpose in life. And also I've kind of felt settled for the first time in a long time. So in those ways, yes, I do feel like I'm starting to live my best life, but it's not necessarily what society would deem to be a best life. I'm not talking about having thousands of euros and, living this extravagant existence. But if you're talking about like just knowing who I am a bit more, and also kind of feeling more comfortable within myself and with the life that I'm creating here, then yes, I definitely would say that I'm living my best life in that sense. These videos are pretty cool for me to do because I do think that on social media and on YouTube especially, you see one version of a person's life, and it's very easy to build up your own assumptions about what life can be like based on what you see, which isn't always everything. It doesn't paint the full picture. In this video, I hope that with just the few comments and assumptions that I went through, you've got a better understanding that life here isn't perfect, but it can still be pretty perfect for you, because perfectionism, it doesn't really exist, but it is also extremely subjective. And so what feels good to you may not necessarily feel good to another person. So you really do have to find your own personal sweet spot and understand what life here in South Italy can bring for you. I will see you in the next video.